Okay, so today we're going to sit here and we're going to use a wheel hub remover tool, OEM. You can rent these tools from most of your big box store, part stores. If you're removing bearings, especially front wheel hub bearings from vehicles that require you to remove the spindle, get them all out, a lot of times that tool does the job. This one here we're going to do it on today is going to be a 2016 Ford Escape. They're known to be one of the biggest pains to get off, so we're going to try to get that done with our special tool today and make this job a lot easier. So we're going to get to it where we're removing the spindle, removing the components, and get the CV axle out of the way. We'll chime back in when we got the tool. We're getting ready to hook it up. All right, so when you're getting ready to pull one of these hubs, you got to make sure everything's disconnected. You can just drop the lower control arm and get it to where you can get free, get the CV shaft pulled out of your hub, and everything's free. Now, we noticed that when we pulled this apart that everything seemed to be like a new part. So, but if you come a little closer and you listen, we are definitely have a part failure. So new parts or not that's failed, we got to change it. Now, a couple things. When we're getting ready to pull this assembly, you have to make sure you remove your speed sensor. Your speed sensor is reading on the magnetic side of your bearing. And then we also have to remove a snap ring that is holding the back side of the bearing in. So once we've removed that, we are now ready to put our OEM tool. We can either get it at a big box store for rent. You can rent these at O'Reilly's and AutoZones and etc. But this is, they really make it nice, especially when you can get your dust shield off. Now, first thing we have to do is we have 3 shoes. These shoes are at different sizes. We have to see which one fits the best behind our hub assembly. This one fits pretty decent. This one, not so much. You can tell that it's not the right size. We have one that's already attached to our puller, and it's too small also, so we're going to have to switch it out for the one that fits the best. And these simply just unbolt. So now we're going to go ahead and switch these out. It doesn't matter if you're talking either. I cut all that stuff out. Or leave it in. That's probably the best fitting. You have to use one. So we definitely have to use an adapter plate. Sometimes you can get away with just using the base of the tool, but this is not one of them cases. Now we need to find, what we're going to do is, the first thing we have to do is remove our hub from the spindle and the bearing assembly. Most generally though, this will destroy the bearing that's currently installed and will blow the inner race out. That's just how it works. So what we want to do is get the correct size coupling here to be able to push on the back of our inner race of our bearing. Okay, don't want to go all the way out because we want to get the bearing actually removes going towards the transmission, but the hub removes going out towards the side of the vehicle. So we're gonna move in just like this. I could hold on here. Look at there. I'm just going to use the actual socket itself, or the nut itself, to press against that inner race. So how this sets up: we're going to bring our tool here, slide it behind the hub. You're going to take your torque screw and you move your torque screw in. Take your nut, and notice that the nut has a beveled edge on it. That's to help you line this thing up center. Okay. And you'll tighten that up. It takes a 24 on each side. So I'll put my wrench on one end. And I'll snug this up and make sure we're centered up in our bearing. Okay, before we get crazy, I look fairly decent centered up on my tool on my hub. Turn around, and we want to make sure that we are centered up on our hub, the inner part of our hub, which we are. So we are going to hammer down. Okay, we have a lot of pressure on this, so make sure you keep your face clear of this. We're actually kind of in an angle, so I'm going to release this, turn my tool a little bit so we pull more square. Okay, let's see if we can get a shot there. This is working. We are actually pulling, but she's going to be super tight. She's about to pop. Go ahead and pop through. We're going to go ahead and give her another crack down. Sometimes they pop right out, and sometimes you got to work on them. In this case, we're having to work it. There it is. That's how it's done. Now we remove the inner race. That one's tight, Cam. It'd be better if we can be able to get these apart without blowing them out. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to have to get that inner race off once we get ready to hit the bearing. Okay, now this bearing pushes toward, we got to remove it going towards the vehicle. So now what we got to do is find our cup size. That's a little sloppy in there. That's not quite what we want. That's better, may work. That's too big, that will not work. So it looks like this is our winner chicken dinner, okay? So now we have to push that thing the opposite direction. Okay, so we need to cup it here. Okay, there's our cupping that allow our bearing to come through. And so we're here. Bring it like this. Okay, that means we got to put ready? Good thing I brought one. Here's the outer race of the bearing. Check the inside, make sure everything's good, not galded. This thing is ready to, it's pretty clean. I'll probably put a brush on that snap ring groove, and we're about ready to reinstall. So we created a gap with the chisel just enough to get our bearing on there, or our separator on there. We'll go ahead and put this in the press and press it on out. Okay, so we got to get everything ready. Now we're going to put the bearing into the spindle first. All right, so on the outside is pretty easy. We're going to bring our tool in, and we need it to be flush against the outside. Okay, the bearing's going to set against the edge here on the inside edge. So as long as we got something flush, we're good. So that's the easy part. Now we want our bearing. To set the bearing up, we want to be able to come in. We're going to have to press on it. So I'm going to find one. This one here is really close to being this size. I can't tell whether we're just a step, it's the same size or a step bigger. I'm going to use it to get started first. And then as soon as I get into where we're seating, if I need to adjust, I will. So that's how it's going to be. Notice that this has got a concave in it we got a concave in it to match the concave of our socket or our nut, so everything centers up this way. Okay, that's how we're going to perform it. One thing is, on these bearings, we have a magnetic side and we have a non-magnetic side. So for almost every modern vehicle, we have to make sure that we have the magnetic tone ring towards the ABS or the speed sensor. In that case, the speed sensor is on the back side of the spindle. Okay, so what I do is I'll take a pocket screwdriver or something and I touch to try to get magnetism. There doesn't seem to be any magnetism on this side. However, we have magnetism on this side, the dark seal side. So the metal side is going to go out towards the wheel, and the tone ring will go in towards the transmission on this particular vehicle. So I'll set it in, kind of get it started a little bit. It'll set in its place there. We'll go ahead and get our applicator put in, press put together. Okay, you notice that I did that myself. I didn't have to have an assistance in there. This is going to work pretty much to get me most of the way, but I think I will end up having to step down just a little bit to the next size. But by that time, the pressure will be off, will be square, and it'll slide in fairly easy. I did. So what I'm doing is I'm just verifying that I'm centered up on my component. I don't want to create, we're not here to create damage, we're here to repair. There. Okay, we're looking to make sure that we are seated all the way. It looks like that we are in there seated. We'll go ahead and take this tool off. Before I put the snap ring in, what we want to do is make sure the fitment of our ABS sensor will slide in. If you're not in deep enough, it will not slide, and we are in. So I want to go ahead and remove this though, so it's out of my way of my snap ring. Giving my snap ring a quick cleaning. Snap ring, this gap of your snap ring needs to go, needs to center with your ABS sensor. I want it to be centered. Now I'm centered. Snap ring is in. Okay, we are golden. Now, we're set up, we're good. We're gonna have to support the inside race of the rear of this bearing, or with this hub assembly, or this bearing, I mean. Okay, so to do so, you find an adapter that's the same size of the inside of your bearing. That way it's supporting, it's putting pressure against the inner races and not the actual ball bearings themselves. This one right here would fit perfect. Okay, so here we go. We come in. Yeah. I found the spacer I want to use. Come in like this, bring it on the back side. Get your spacer that you want on there. Bring in your nut. So what I'm going to do is center that up on my bearing like I want on the back side. Okay, we are there. Now I'm putting pressure on the inner races of both these bearings. This is going to press on that inner race. That's going to put pressure here on that race, but my cup on the back side will hold the other opposite side of that inner race and just keep the pressure on the races and not my ball bearings by doing it this way. Got a good close up of that. So we're going to press this thing in until she comes to a stop. Okay, now I'm not sure you can hear that on the camera, but in real life you'll hear that actually change sounds on your impact gun. We are completely seated. I'm going to go ahead and back this out. There you go. We have officially changed the bearing hub assembly without having to remove the spindle. So there you go. That's how we use the old hub grappler. Again, that's an OEM version. They make all kinds of them. That one there is probably by far the simplest one to use. And this is one of them things with this tool. If you have that tool, it's very much like a ball joint press. A ball joint press has multiple uses, and when you own one of them presses and when you own one of these pullers and bearing installers, you'll find yourself using them for other applications, because sometimes you get yourself in a pinch and have to think out of the box. Them type of tools help us get out of that pinch. So now that you know, you know. Until next time, deuces.